And join us on DSTV 421, Go TV 144. Remember, we're also streaming live on our social media handles. My name is Gifty Ando-Apia. The Pulse is brought to you by Global Communities Dignilu, affordable, safe sanitation. This is The Pulse. Please be my guest.
But you can see the wailing crowd, people who have lost their relatives.
This afternoon, 2 persons have been confirmed dead and 4 others are currently receiving treatment, actually battling for their lives. It follows a violent clash early this morning. Some youth of EJURA clashed with the military and police earlier today in protest over the killing of a social media activist, Ibrahim Mohammed. The military fired into the air to maintain calm and order in the town after the residents there hit the street. Watch this. And that's a video of the moment that the military arrived and started firing their shots there. Correspondent Erastus Asari Donko has been interacting with some of the eyewitnesses.
So one person has been shot, and you can see him in your shot there. One person has been shot, and the military contingent and the police are in here firing shots. And currently from our location up here on this building, you can see clearly that the street is clearing. The military have formed a line and they are advancing with a water cannon, leading the onslaught. From where we are standing, you can see the 3 armed military men and a military pickup with a water cannon following closely. There are 2 armed military men, one pointing the gun downwards just on the street here. And for now, the street looks deserted. I must say that the youth have retreated into the community. From where I'm standing, I could see some of them running into the houses nearby. But the people are regrouping. So you could see in the distance there, the people have regrouped. A number of the youth have regrouped and are coming in from the other end. They've gone behind the military patrol, and they are moving in their numbers from that direction again. In some few minutes time, we will be seeing whether this action will drive them away permanently, but from the interviews we've conducted so far, the youth are demanding one thing, that they are going to demonstrate with their lives until they get justice. And I put the question to some of them that indeed the police have arrested, they've announced the arrest of 2 people. Is that not the road leading to justice? And they tell me that they do not believe in that story, they've not heard that story, and they do not trust the police. And until they see real justice, they are still going to demonstrate throughout the day. They will not allow the death of their brother to slide. That is what they've been telling us since morning. Currently, the military patrol has turned around and are facing the crowd that is still gathering on the other side of the street. And you can hear the firing still going on. There is blood in the middle of the road. 1 person has been shot, and we saw him being carried away. There is blood all over on the streets.
Adia twins as somewhere in MC Noir. Every say was Utamasu say one see. Who see one see gis was our babu. Obiansu and Pew or no ma sa adia winning in a buy. I MC Noir.
Get in our canasa.
Every say no chromo, my home, Sao Munipa or more MPP no. Or no, and now what Casa on Crawford say, I dare MP as in a and yet. Anti and what's now Nipa say, Uncle Catcher or Yanko Catcher say, boy, no. One jay so one jaya, I dare a yanwa or no pay. Anti 3 days moana and a cotacan. Also, a MPP no. When ya and yet when ya and this, where ya MPP and so and crowd were carrying a guessy MCU and never son.
Well, so what he's telling me is that all this has happened because of the municipal chief executive. He claims that his term of office has run out. He has to exit office, but he's not exiting office, and that is why this happened. They sent a threat to the gentleman before this happened, and they think that he's the reason why all this is happening.
Adia police penini no wanya de police EJURA police commander wanya de enye ne panti na wotu kuroma ha ne bottom ti ena wodi tu kuroma ha we politician say anka wanya politician obi na ni abiri enu ani se bopata no wanti ase kura obati ase because nipa na omuku no omaku na awie to na de tin soldiers forever bullet pa say nipa mensa bakuni de nipa 4 bakuni de yem for the say ni de no enye bibia ni de no ekitwa omo ye 5 no bakuni wawu Mukwasha ni moja awado yesi rubber bullet na omutu but ye kira mu ade yi a rubber bullet mami ko a rubber bullet yesu youth no enya ade a yebe accept kura ye ti asie miti ye ti asie wow daga bullet miti ye ti asie ade a yebe nu yebe ye by kusa e watirimu asam no ani
so in effect what he said was that they are incensed by what the police commander has done. They were expecting that once they are angry and are on the streets demanding action and justice, they were expecting that he will come out and talk to them. They were not expecting the military men to come in and shoot at them. And he is saying that the military men, they claim, were using rubber bullets, but he's showing them that he has the shells of live bullets that has been fired. He says of the 4 people who have been shot, one of them, 5 people, one of them he thinks is understand they will really do something about it. As to what they will do about it, he's not ready to tell me.
So long as this continues, we should expect more. We should expect more. And our youth...
You should expect more of what?
Our youth are not going to back up because we are preparing. You understand? We are fighting for justice. Then you are adding more injuries to the insult. Look at what they did. Look at what you just... Transformer. Look at the transformer. Do they want peace? We are fighting for our own. And they are doing this to us. Is this the justice that we are fighting for?
I wouldn't know.
So, this is it. If that is what they want, we will continue. And we are not backing up. Serious. No amount of bullets will stop this till we get justice. And that's what the youth, Choboy, Choboy, that's what they are calling for. When the essence of your life is threatened, you fight back with whatever that you have. And that's what we are doing. We are not backing off. So they should come and kill us. We will continue till we get justice. We have people in authority here. What did they do? What did they do? They sat down aloof. And this is the result. When the youth rise up, they are now shooting us to kill us all. Then we are ready. I do not think this is the possible way to resolve what is happening. You call the whole army to come and shoot us just because we are fighting for justice for one of our own. It could happen to you. It could happen to me.
Very chaotic. Very, very. It's most unfortunate. They are trying to avenge the death of one of their own. Now we have multiple injuries and deaths. Just from the hospital, I witnessed 2 people dead and about 6, 8 or 9 people seriously injured.
How do you feel at the moment?
Very, very sad. Very, very sad. I'm on my way to the palace. You know, EJURA is also in a serious meeting with the powers that be so that we can find lasting solution to this problem. Whilst is there, I'm going to brief them as to what is on the ground. He's waiting for me and I'm going there right now.
Can you repeat this for me? So you've been to the hospital. Let me know exactly. There are many conflicting accounts of how many people are dead. How many people can you confirm dead at the moment?
My brother, from the medical superintendent, 2 people are dead. I saw 6 people injured, but as I was leaving, Motokin also brought about 3 people also injured. So we have about 9 people seriously injured now. But
what is the nature of their injuries?
I'm not a medical doctor, so I can't comment, but to them, it's very fatal. Fatal. You know, live bullet is dangerous.
Was this what Nananom were expecting today?
Not at all. Not at all, because from yesterday, we've been fighting this thing not to happen. You know, the moment we heard that the guy, Kaka, was dead, we realized there wasn't going to be peace. So we started talking to the various factions. And from yesterday, around 2 p.m., we've been talking, calming them down. It is not easy, but we've tried our best. Now, this morning, EJURA has spoken with a sizable number of the people, including the Zongo chief and most of the elders. And they assured us that calm was going to remain. But we don't know what happened. All of a sudden, we heard that there was confrontation between the youth and then the peacemakers. And I had to rush to the scene. I went there and full of blood. So I had to follow up to the hospital, and lo and behold, 2 dead, about 6 or 8 or 9 people also injured. I'm very sad.
Who brought the military in?
Obviously, it is music. music, because of the escalation of the problem yesterday, they had to bring in the military to support. They came for peace, not to fight anybody. They came for peace. But
are you surprised that they fired into the crowd?
I'm very, very surprised. Very, very surprised. As I was heading towards the scene, I saw the police, the water cannon, spreading water. So I thought that was enough to scare them, to get them off. But just as I went past them, most of the people came running towards me. And they told me that about 4 people had been shot. So I said, then let me go with you to see what is happening there. Lo and behold, went there and full of blood. So I had to follow up to this place, and that is why I'm here.
What is going to happen next? What are Nananum going to do?
I have requested the various leaders, youth leaders, the Zongo chiefs and other leaders to meet me at the palace. EJURA is waiting for them. He will finish with the meeting with the powers that be soon, and then we also go into the dialogue with them. We have to dialogue with the youth and those people too. And then certainly EJURA is going back to Accra today to see how best he can get the government to support us, get peace immediately.
What would you say to the people at this moment to maintain peace?
I'm appealing to my brothers, to all EJURA citizens, to calm down. We are not in a war. We just want justice for our brother who died. But out of that, we are escalating things, and it is turning into a horrific thing. So I will tell them to calm down. We don't want to fight the military. We don't want to fight the security agencies. We want justice for the dead, and that is what we are seeking for. So government should come to our aid and support us. Find justice in EJURA.
No amount of bullet will stop us is what the youth are saying over there. And also, we want peace is what you heard the leadership say. Well, Erastus followed up from where we ended to the hospital to check on the injured. This is what he found.
We can confirm we are inside the treatment center of the EJURA Government Hospital. You can see in your shots there the number of injured people being attended to. The place looks crowded at the moment with some lying on the ground and being attended to. 2 people who have been confirmed dead. One is lying in front of me now. The other is on a stretcher just behind me. The medical superintendent is here. Let me try to get a word from him. Sir, what can you tell us about the injured at the moment?
The injured cases are in a very critical, but we are actively managing them.
Can you confirm the 2 dead?
Yeah, we've confirmed already. One was brought in dead. The other one died within 10 minutes after arrival, after active resuscitation. Because where the bullet hit was so much that there's no way to hit the chest directly. And there is bleeding into the chest. That is hemothorax. Following the other one that was there before brought in. So, but
what about the injured? Can you tell us about the injuries?
Yeah, the injuries were so he had a femur fracture, multiple femur fracture, apparently severely injured. But 2 are dead, as already said. My name is Dr. Mensa Manye, Medical Superintendent, EJURA Government Hospital.
Thank you very much. And a wrap from the medical superintendent for the EJURA Government Hospital. I must say the room is so congested that the nurses and doctors are finding it very difficult to attend to the injured at this particular moment. There are a number of people who are also crammed outside trying to get information on the condition of their relatives. So it's a critical state here, very congested, people in critical condition. They need room, they need air, and there is no security available to keep the crowd at bay for the doctors to be able to do their job at the moment. So that's the condition at the EJURA Government Hospital, where 2 confirmed dead from the shooting by the military, 4 are on admission in critical condition, and there is a milling crowd here preventing doctors to really discharge their duties. And already some relatives are trying to bring a stretcher to carry the bodies away, and I'm told that per Islamic tradition, they will want to get access to the bodies to bury them, and that is what they are trying to do. They are trying to push a stretcher into the hospital at the moment to try to get the bodies to bury, but you can see the wailing crowd, people who have lost their relatives. There is so much sadness and anger and emotions running high here at EJURA. What started as a protest against the murder of a social media activist in town, in the death of 2 more people, 4 currently in the Ashanti. And they laid the blame squarely on the chief. The whole confusion, and as the interviews we had early on, many of them are expected to, but I'm told by the authorities that it will need to be exactly done before they can be given out, but not here to the youth are not taking kindly to that.
They have to take how do you call it, the body. Then they are asking them to pay some amount. That is why they are making the noise once again, because they don't understand why they should pay that money, because they are all aware that it was a killing from the soldiers. It's not any accident case, and then the man was, the daughter will say maybe he doesn't understand. Maybe he wants to do some post-mortem. So the youths are saying that no.
How much are they supposed to pay?
As I know myself, I don't know. I don't know the amount they ask them to pay, and then there's that noise.
So the youth are not ready to pay that particular amount to get the body out, and that is not. So that is what is causing the confusion at the moment. And I think finally they are taking the stretcher out. But certainly the stretcher has been called in, and so they will the seriously congested where the people are being treated to pick the body.
So those were live visuals that we had earlier today. Erastus Asari Donko, Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin on the ground with their cameraman following the incident as it started. We want to give you just some information on the people who have died. At least we have a picture. We have a picture of at least one of them. That's one of them. And I'll give you the information here, given certified by doctors handling the matter. Abdul Nasir Yusuf is 25 years. He was shot on the left shoulder into the chest. He was shot on the left shoulder into the chest. He had internal bleeding in the chest and he died before arrival. That is Abdul Nasir Yusuf. That's the first person who died. Now, the second person who died, we're told, is Mutala Mohammed. He was 26 years old. He was shot at the back through to the chest and then he had severe chest injury with internal bleeding. He died 10 minutes after he arrived at the hospital. He was resuscitated, he was put on oxygen, he was given blood, but he died. Now, we have 4 other people who are battling for their lives. We have some updates on their situation as well. Now, here is what happened to them. The first person sustained severe injuries. He had injuries to the thigh. The femur bone got completely fractured. And then he had multiple deep laceration on the thigh with bleeding into the thigh muscles. That's the first person who is injured and battling for his life at the moment. The second person had an injury on the right side of the abdomen, which affected the right hip bone. That's the second person. He also had been given blood and he went into shock. So the third person sustained injuries on the thigh and we're told that he is stable now. The fourth person sustained injuries on the right thigh and he is also stable now. This information is coming from the doctors who are handling these people. We also know that there were a number of women, I think about 2 of them, who were seen also passing out during all of these or the incident. So 2 people have died, mostly chest wounds. The gun shot through the shoulder into the chest for the first one, and the second one was shot from the back into the chest. That's how the 2 people died. And these were visuals of when it actually occurred and when they tried to get him some help. And you can see the way that he was being handled at the time in the moment of heat, while they tried to get him to the hospital. 2 of them, one of them died on arrival, one of them was dead already before he got there. So how did we get here in the first place? The chaos, the protest, everything. These were triggered by the death of a social media activist, Ibrahim Mohammed, popularly known as Macho Kaka. So who is he and what is he known for? Take a look.
Just look at the road. I am bringing this video to your attention to get help for the community. Whenever it rains, the whole place gets flooded. The streets even become unmotorable. A lot is happening in this community, but we do not get help. Let's fix the flooding situation before things get out of hands. Just take a look at the houses around. The rainwater enters people's rooms through the windows. We need to talk about these things to get the change we desire. Our leaders aren't helping. That is why we need to talk about them. I saw this on my way to town and decided to share it with all of you. The bad road is being fixed at EJURA. The stretch is very dusty and that's why I covered my hair. I'm bringing this to your attention because I want the place to be developed. I expect the youth in EJURA to support this cause for the good of everyone. People criticize what I do because they do not understand what I do. I'm not against anyone. All I ask for is development in EJURA.
And that is the social media activist who has died now and on whose death we're experiencing or seeing all of these other deaths. Well, allegedly, his criticism of government is what has led to his death. This afternoon, his family says they want his killers apprehended and prosecuted. I will be going to the EJURA township where we are still live, but let me take you to Parliament. Joseph Opoku Gakpo is standing by. We understand that the Member of Parliament for the area, the EJURA area, will be making a statement shortly in Parliament. Joseph, are you there?
Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Joseph. We'll be coming back to you shortly, just so our viewers know that we will be coming to Parliament to get what the MP is saying and what has been happening in Parliament on the back of this particular story. But let's go quickly to Erastus Asari Donko. Erastus is live in EJURA. Erastus has been following this story for us since morning. Erastus, give us an update. What is happening right now?
Well, so this morning when we got to EJURA, our vehicle came under attack by the protesting youth, but then there was one gentleman who formed a shield around myself and my team and has since been protecting us until the military came in. We got separated at a point when we saw the military firing, and I told my team to go to a higher ground, not knowing he left us, and then he was caught by the bullet and has since died. Abdul Nasif Yusuf is his name, and we have come to the home of Abdul Nasif Yusuf to catch a glimpse of what is happening in here. And you can see quite a large family indeed of Abdul Nasif, who are all grieving and very sad at the death of their relative. In fact, Abdul Nasif protected us up to a point where we separated. We did not know. We saw the military shoot two people, and at a point we did not know it was him until we went to the hospital and saw his body. And so we have come in here to commiserate with the family and to also listen to them. And you could see members of his family who are at this moment grieving. His body has been brought to this house. They are doing the necessary Muslim rituals, and then he will be taken from here to the burial site to be buried at this moment. Let me speak with a family member on how they feel concerning his death. What's your name, sir?
Thank you very much. My name is Isaku Abubakari. Nasru is my direct brother. Nasru Yusuf is my direct brother. In fact, this morning we had a bad news. And we've seen a bad news towards my brother Abdul Nasser's dead, shot by the army military man. This morning, I went to the office. I decided to go to the bank and take something small. So I was there when they recalled me at the workplace office. So I went. So towards going back to the office, there is some junction towards Public Park. I stopped there with my motorbike. The military men are other side, in front of Alhaji Ayao's, that is the man name, Alhaji Ayao's house. And what I've seen is the military man shot first one. He knelt down with the knees and shot Panyai. So I was there, I stand and he added Panyai. When I decided to say no, I decided to go to the office. They called me. So let me just pass by the Public Park and then go to the office. So I just reached office. This is my car keys. I went to open the car and I had a call from one of my nephew telling me my brother was killed. I said, who is that? He said, Abdul Nasser. I said, what? So I thought he won. He won. So let me just relax more. I was there when my sister, she's at North right now. She also called me and asked me. And I said, no, this is very serious. So I removed my phone and called the doctor straight. He's my main man.
So that's the point where you got to know that your brother has been shot.
Yes.
When you went to the scene, what did you see?
Yeah, when I went there to see, confirm he's dead. And the way they shot him at the back from here to the back.
So through the chest?
Yes, through the chest. Coming out. Appeared the back.
How does the family feel about this?
We feel very bad. This is my senior brother. This is my sister. They are all entire family. Because you see, the boy is not a bad boy. One is not a bad boy. And he doesn't move with bad boys. As you earlier mentioned, he was even with you, protecting you. You can see that, yeah, there is clear that he's not a bad person. And the way the military man, in fact, shot my brother, you see, is very bad. They are not here to kill people. They're brought here to protect the violent. And they rather came and create more violence. And what I'm saying is that they are not, I said it, they are not mean, I mean people. They were sent by somebody to do that. I'm telling you, if they know they are army man, real army, they should come out. One, if you are going on operation, I told you, I have been to that training before. You have to appear, your name have to appear. One, your number have to be appeared. Or they don't have any number, they don't have anything on their chest testifying that they are arming people. So my brother, what I had for the family and the entire EJURA people, we have to take time. With what is happening in EJURA, you see, one, they beated the EJURA chieftaincy, first one. Nothing has done. They beated MP, Alhaji Bauer. Nothing has done. They beated Ambu, even break his nose. Nothing has happened. You see, fifth, the sixth one is who? So this is telling people of EJURA and Ghanaians that what happened from Techima, the same happened to EJURA. They mean to kill people. Wow. And what they mean, we mean more than that. He will tell you the rest.
So at this point, what is going to happen? Where is the body? What is going to? What are preparations?
We are now buffing the body. We are preparation to send him where to rest. It is very painful. I went to EJURA Hene. I've spoken with them.
What does the family want at this time?
Yeah, what I want after this case should forward. Any place that it will go, they should call me. I will respond. And I will appreciate that myself will forward this case to Accra.
So you need justice, right?
I need justice, man.
Yes. Because you near brepa. Akola no anya basabaso. Omo nyina me kan mu nyina ba fie. No si say kopaduan no ha ya bedi. Oto eburo no bubu ye no de man kwala e no tu ni moto no ko. Kwansi de bete ya ne say yakun akola no. Ye kwadu hospital ampa na akola na wu adai.
Well, so that is the situation here at Abdul Nasif's family house. And in fact, I must say this is the gentleman who was providing protection for us from the demonstrators themselves when we first got here at EJURA. And he was with us until finally we got separated. This is a leader of the family. Briefly, can you tell us what would the family want as we speak?
You can see, I am the head of the family, and we are in severe pain because of he's a very young guy. Ghana as a nation is in need of him. The family is in need of him. And EJURA as a community also is in need of him. He's gone like that. What we want is justice. Because I don't think that Ghana Armed Forces, well-trained, I repeat my word, well-trained, knowing very well that
We don't go to demonstration and shoot warning shots with real bullets. So they intentionally did it. And I can confirm to you that this is not Ghana Armed Forces. International community they are aware that Ghana Armed Forces are well trained. They know how to protect Ghanaians, not to kill Ghanaians. This is the vigilante group that has been formed by so-called political parties. They dissolve others. As they are in power, they mingle them with the Ghana Armed Forces. And when there's a problem like this, they send them to go and kill poor citizens. We know that Ghana, there's no justice. There's no justice because this is not the first time. You as a journalist, you know it very well. You are here to educate the nation, to inform the nation. But your brother Ahmed Salah, where is he? Where is the justice? He was shot down in Accra openly. No justice has been done about it. If Ghana government think he will leave the justice into the hands of the population, we are ready to take the justice and we'll do the justice ourselves. So what we repeat again, this government should try and take off this vigilantes group out of Ghana Armed Forces. Have you ever seen a warning shot breaking a leg of somebody? How should a military man? We are not in war. We have the peacekeeping officers who are the policemen. What has the military have to do in the middle of demonstrators? What has the military has to do in the middle of demonstrators? So they intentionally kill our brother. And all what we want is justice. Without justice, there will not be peace. Mine is gone. Somebody own is coming. And we are not going to tolerate it. All what we need is justice. Without justice, EJURA, the Third World War will start from EJURA. Wow. I say it openly.
So that's the family. Clearly, they are very angry and emotions are very high. Just ahead of me in one of the rooms, the young man who was protecting us early today lies there motionless. They are going to prepare him for burial. And on the streets of EJURA is relatively calm. The members of the other family are also preparing their body for burial. At the hospital, we still have 4 people who are in critical condition and are being responded to by doctors. And so we are still keeping tabs on the ground, and we'll be bringing you updates as and when they pop in.
Erastus, I just want to check quickly, Erastus, whether the protest on the streets or whether the streets have been cleared now of both the protesters and the security operatives.
Yes, I must say that the streets have been cleared at the moment, just as you have quite a number of people gathered in the family homes of those who died. They are now concentrating on preparing them in the Muslim, through the Muslim ritual and get them ready for burial. But we are picking signals that after the burial, the youth are going to meet and strategize on the next line of action. As to what that action may be, we are not too sure. But clearly, there is still simmering tension on the streets with the youth very angry and responsive to what has happened early this day. Gifty.
Erastus, thank you very much, and we'll keep our eye on the situation. Certainly, Erastus is our eye on the ground. Erastus Asari Donko there, member of the security team here at the JoyNews, and also Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin, who are both on the ground for us. I want to connect with ADIB SANI. He's a security analyst. Let's try and get his perspective of what has happened so far. Adib, I'm not sure if you have seen this particular video. I just want to play it back to you and take your thoughts on it. The moment that the military arrived, of course, in the company of the police. Take a look. And ADIB, I'll take your initial thoughts on what you've just seen.
Well, I saw the video earlier, and where you have just paused is the most disturbing bit of it. You see, usually it is the police that is supposed to control crowds. They only call in on the military if they are overwhelmed. Even if the military arrives, I would expect that they use rubber-coated bullets rather than live ammunition. So when I first saw the video, I thought, oh, obviously, this cannot be live ammunition. But the fact that people are dying points to a very disturbing truth, that they were using live ammunition. And you see, there are two ways of firing warning shots to disperse crowd, okay? It's either you fire into the air, and I'm going to demonstrate using my hands, okay? You fire into the air, and the angle is very important, okay? So if you fire this way, automatically the bullet goes up, and by the time it returns, it is not, lethal, okay? But if you fire this way over the heads of people, what you are doing is targeting innocent people who have actually nothing to do with what is going on there, okay? Unfortunately, that is exactly what we see. But to even, crown it all, you see the military officer on his knees pointing directly at the people and firing, okay? I would have thought that, fine, if you don't want to fire into the air, then you fire into the ground. Okay, so when you create that fear, so people might, start running away. But for the military to point their guns at the people is something I find so shocking and has the potential of pushing the area to the brink. It has the potential of getting a lot more of the people in that area agitated, and that would present to us a much more cataclysmic situation than we fathom. There's a skill and there's an operational procedure to follow in crowd control. We have different layers, we have different tools, we have different approaches, depending on the situation and the kind of crowd you're dealing with. But it is quite obvious from what we see that there was some show of bravado of some sort, unfortunately, on this occasion by the military, which I thought should know better. And that has resulted in the deaths of, I understand, 1 or 2 persons. It is quite unfortunate. And I think that the issue could have been managed better.
Are as a watcher of the space from the Ghana Armed Forces. But let's look again at the video. We see a police vehicle. Actually, the vehicle carrying the military men comes first, and then there's a police vehicle that follows, and then of course there's what looks like a water cannon that also comes in as well. Again, the protocol would have been that you would have used the water cannon first. Help my ignorance, is it?
Absolutely. There are different approaches. Okay, if this fails, then you resort to the next. Okay, under normal circumstance, it is the police that is supposed to lead it. But like I indicated at first, when they are overwhelmed, then they invite the military in. But it looks more like the police by default lose control of the situation. So you have rather the military lead it. So I would have thought that they use the water cannon. If it doesn't work, they perhaps use the rubber-coated bullets. If it doesn't work, then they have every reason to believe that a lives or danger or safety of the officers is at stake. Then they'll be forced to use force or use perhaps live bullets, which should be the last resort. But it's quite obvious from the video that it was actually the first resort. And that is what I can't seem to wrap my mind around. And I find very unfortunate. However, we are in Ghana. There seems to be a culture of impunity. There's no accountability. It has happened in the past, even during the elections. I know a young man who was shot at somewhere around Mataigo. He was admitted at a rich hospital. Later, he died. We don't know what has become of the case. You know, invariably, a lot more officers would begin to feel that, okay, well, if we also use force and, you know, resort to showmanship bravado, there's absolutely no way we'll be held to account.
And that's where I wanted to come to. That's where I wanted to come to with this conversation before we end it. That you mentioned that you would have used rubber bullets. I mean, rubber bullets could equally be lethal, I must say. But then again, you look at the sequence of events, certain things that have happened right from the days of lockdown, where a military personnel, you know, shot somebody. And then you also look at the situation in Teshiman South, where people have complained about, we're told that it's being investigated. People have put all of these together, and they're saying that because eventually we don't hear anything from the Ghana Armed Forces about the end of the investigation, it looks like it's breeding more of the impunity. As a security analyst, from your perspective, what will be your expectation from the Ghana Armed Forces, and indeed from the police, which would have been in charge of this particular operation, first of all, before they brought in the military?
Well, I would expect that. I didn't listen to all of, I couldn't hear all of your questions, but it has to do with accountability and what the way forward is going into the future, right?
You're more like your expectation of how they should end, given the others that have happened and how people feel there haven't been enough, or there haven't been closure to those cases involving, you know, people being shot at by either the military or the police.
Well, we have to nip it about the culture of impunity. Accountability is key. And like I always say, it is in the best interest of the security services to ensure accountability, because once you have public rejection, they automatically become uncooperative, and it will be very difficult for you to fulfill your mandates. I would expect that investigation is conducted into it, but it shouldn't just be the preserve of the military or the police. I think it should be multidisciplinary in nature, including perhaps representatives from the ombudsman and rights organizations, people with skills, special skills in different areas. When we bring them together, whatever the outcome would be, whether it is to hold someone accountable or whether it is to vindicate someone, the families should have closure. Unfortunately, the thing is, anytime something like this happens, you have the military doing their internal investigation. In the end, you don't even know what becomes of it, because you and I are not privy to the report. And it keeps happening over and over again. And that is what is creating that disenchantment and mistrust between the civilians and members of the security agencies. I think that this issue could have been managed. I mean, if it were really managed better, it wouldn't have gotten to where it is. Because we saw this coming, for crying out loud. You saw the releases being flown all over the place on social media. Some were threatening in nature. And I would have expected that the Security Council in that area would take proactive measures. If they have to arrest some people, arrest them, reassure the family members, or perhaps identifiable groups or persons in that area. And it could have been better managed Unfortunately, we didn't see that happening, and we are rather pushing more and more.
Let me just indicate also, to be fair to the police, that this morning we heard from the Ashanti Region Police, which said that they've made an arrest of 2 people in connection with the death of Kaka, the genesis of this entire case. But Adib, I would like to say a very big thanks to you for your time and for your analysis there. ADIB SANI is a security analyst. I want to take you to Parliament now. My colleague Joseph Opoku-Gakpo is standing by with the ranking member on Parliament's Committee on Interior and Defence, James Agaga. Hello, Joseph.
Good afternoon to you.
Right, Joseph, you're with the ranking member on the minority, on the Parliamentary Select Committee on Interior and Defence. What has he been saying?
Let's hear from him. He's a former Deputy Minister for Interior as well during the NDC regime. Honorable, thanks very much for joining us. We've heard the news today, the deaths of Mohammed Muntala and Abdullah Nasir, following the clash with the police and military persons in EJURA this morning. How did the news come to you?
Yeah, it's regrettable. I mean, to think of the fact that the police and the military fired at unarmed civilians during the conduct of the 2020 elections, and lives were lost in the process. We saw that happen in Tichiman. We saw that happen in Ablikuma Central. And elsewhere. One would have thought that the security apparatus of the state would have learned lessons by now with regards to using excessive force in crowd control. But unfortunately, it appears lessons haven't been lost. And so when I watch video footage of what happened in EJURA today, I was completely at a loss. I don't know what to say again. But you see...
What do you think happened? What could have virtually resulted in the military responding the way they responded, firing live ammunitions on some of the occasions allegedly directed at the crowd?
I think that the government is getting jittery. I mean, that is a plain truth. The government is getting jittery because they have, for a long time, attempted to suppress what is otherwise supposed to be a fundamental human right, the right to demonstrate. You see, all the gymnastics in court, etc., it's become very evident that it is government's ploy to suppress a fundamental human right. So
is this government? Is this government? My point is this government? These are security people who responded to probably an action by demonstrators.
The remote causes of what eventually led to the killing of that innocent gentleman at EJURA, the member of Fix the Ghana campaign. I mean, he clearly took to social media to say a lot of things about hardship in our country and the need for government to fix the country. He was attacked by people who are supposed to be associates of the municipal chief executive of EJURA. The 2 men who have so far been arrested are supposed to be bodyguards of the municipal chief executive. The point is that, look, if government had not frustrated the Fix the Ghana campaigners, I am sure most of the grievances they have spelled out over the period, they would have had the opportunity to vent their anger. And so, one, threats would not have been issued and directed at the victim who died as a result of that attack in EJURA, which then culminated in a funeral procession, which was interpreted by our state security as a demonstration.
Let's talk more about that. Do you think the security agencies acted professionally as was expected of them as military and police people who are deployed to the ground?
Look, excessive force clearly was used. Live ammunition was fired. And yet in this country, we've had several commissions of inquiry to look into the conduct of police. Archer Commission of Inquiry comes in handy. One key recommendation was that we must refrain from using weapons, lethal weapons, in crowd control situations. Lethal weapons such as guns. And so when I saw that guns were fired today, clearly those guns were fired in breach of the recommendations of the Archer Commission of Inquiry.
Should sanctions apply following what you say are breaches of recommendations of previous commissions of inquiry?
Of course, sanctions must apply. I mean, it was needless to use live ammunition. I saw in those videos crowd control vehicles such as the water cannons. And so why they didn't use the water cannons to disperse the crowd, but chose to fire directly into the crowd, clearly makes me very confused. And so there has to be an inquiry. And unlike the Techiman incident, which for now hasn't yielded anything by way of investigation and finding people culpable, we hope that this time around, the investigations will result in the punishment of the officers involved. But the bottom line is the attempt to suppress the fundamental rights of the people to demonstrate. That is what has resulted in this massacre.
My final question will be, you referenced the Techiman incident, and the point being that nothing has happened in terms of people being brought to justice. And then this has happened. What role can Parliament play in ensuring that this doesn't become like the Techiman incident that you
The member for EJURA has written a statement which would be taken on the floor. The statement has been admitted. My position is that once that statement is before the floor, we would make contributions to the statement. If I'm given the opportunity, I'd ask Mr. Speaker to institute a parliamentary inquiry into the matter. And it's my hope and prayer that the Speaker would grant our request, which would flow naturally from the statement that would be taken by the member for EJURA. If that happens, I think that we would be able to exercise our oversight mandate in a more constructive manner. If we leave this for the state security apparatus to investigate, in a way it would appear as if Parliament is derelict. I don't want it to look like we don't have what it takes to launch independent investigations into the conduct of, those who fired at the citizens who clearly were unarmed. All right? We should have used proper crowd control methods to contain them and not to fire into the crowds the way we did.
And what would a parliamentary probe eventually achieve in the end you envisage, even if the Speaker allows for it? The point being that sometimes some of these conversations get partisan one way or the other. The people, the political authority in charge of these institutions are your own colleagues who may eventually be accused of treating with kid gloves.
We must understand one thing, that here we are talking about the fundamental rights of our citizens. Those rights are enshrined in the Constitution and would continue to remain the same even when governments change. So it is high time the political class of this country came to the realization that when you protect and enforce fundamental human rights, you may be doing that for yourself. Because, you see, you wouldn't be in government forever. And when you find yourself in opposition, you would want to invoke those rights. But when you are in government, you tend to think that the enforcement of those rights is detrimental to your political survival and so on and so forth. So it is high time we came to the realization that it was not for nothing. The framers, all right, came out with a Bill of Rights in our Constitution, and one of those rights, which is so fundamental, is the right to demonstrate. Let us allow the country campaigners to hold their demonstrations. After all, we saw the president on a tour of the Upper East region and how students lined the streets to welcome him in violation of the COVID protocol. So all forms of arguments now about COVID, which is the reason why they mustn't demonstrate, flies in the face of recent happenings.
My last question, so we could all go in and go wait for the statement from the MP for EJURA. Some of the residents think those who came in are probably not professional, proper security people, and in fact, in interviews with them, they claim probably people who have infiltrated the ranks of the security agencies are responsible for these killings because they acted in an unprofessional way. What do you say to this comment from the
Mr. Gapo, I have stated time with that number that the way and manner personnel have been recruited into the security agencies, clearly is a recipe for disaster. And that is what is beginning to unfold. You have elements who have now infiltrated the ranks of our security agencies who shouldn't be there at all. Some of them were known political party vigilantes. Today, they are all wielding weapons. They've been given uniforms to wear. They masquerade as soldiers, police officers. But those individuals have their loyalty to a political party and not to the state, and that is the problem.
Many thanks for speaking to us. James Agalga is ranking member on Parliament's Defense and Interior Committee. He's also the MP for Bilsa North, and he previously was Deputy Minister for Interior with those comments there. So, Gifty, we're waiting for that statement from the Honorable Mohammed Brahima, who is the Member of Parliament for the EJURA constituency. We've spotted him right on the floor of Parliament, and currently, some other ministers, including the Works and Housing Minister, are responding to questions on the floor, after which you're waiting for that statement to be delivered.
And certainly, Joseph, we'll get to hear from the majority side on this as well, I suppose. Joseph Opoku Gakpo, they will be going back to him in Parliament to get the latest on that particular one. But as you well know, police say that 2 suspects have been arrested by the EJURA police in connection with the murder of Ibrahim Mohammed, the beginning or the genesis of this problem, popularly also known as Macho Kaka. The suspects include Ibrahim Isaka, alias Anyas, and Fuseni Al-Hassan. Here is the Ashanti Regional Police Public Relations Officer, Godwin Ahianyo.
This morning, I would like to inform the general public that the Regional Command has arrested 2 suspects in the attack and murder of Ibrahim Mohammed alias Kaka, age 45 and resident of Dagoba Line, a suburb of EJURA in the Ashanti region. The suspects are Ibrahim Isaka alias Anyas and Fuseni Al-Hassan, currently in custody. Both were arrested at about 10:45 p.m. on Monday, that is yesterday, 28 June 2021, following police intelligence. Witness accounts show that the deceased was ambushed in front of his house when he was returning home on his motorbike at about 1:30 a.m. on Sunday, 27th June 2021. He was rushed to the EJURA Government Hospital and was later referred to the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital, where he died at midday, 28 June 2021. Police investigation will also extend to rumors that the deceased was a journalist and a member of the Face the Country movement to ascertain if the murder was linked to his work or the movement. Police appeals to anyone who has any relevant information to share with the police on mobile phone number 0299 207770. Such persons may also report to the nearest police station or the police emergency numbers 191 18555 and 112, or WhatsApp the police on this number 020 6639 121.
Godwin Ahianyo speaks for the Ashanti Region Police there. Now, you know the names of those who have been arrested, but the police say they want more information. If you do have it, you know how to send it through to them. Let's get on social media, see what you're saying about the incident so far. So that's the story there. 2 dead, 4 injured as military and police clash with protesting EJURA youth. What are you saying? Ademu Mohammed says, until we change our mindset and speak the truth, we shall never progress as a country. Peter Afram says, why, Kufuor, why? You have demonstrated several in today that you are president of the country, where staged demonstrations, all because you are not. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean. You say, why are you unleashing your police and the military to shoot and kill those who are following your footsteps? Okay, so you're essentially saying that the president used to demonstrate, and why the security agencies are unleashing terror on those who are demonstrating at the moment. Okay, John Conscious says, this cannot and should not be described as a clash. This is a massacre. the security personnel should have employed much more professional strategies in dealing with such situations. And you've had 37 replies. That's John Conscious, 37 replies on that statement alone. Very instructive one. Tupta Bra Rauf says this military in Ghana will do this and lose their respect on civilians one day, as it's as if they don't know their work again. You've had 4 replies on that yet. And Senor Kwesi says, when a country is governed by wicked leaders, I urge you to, the people are doomed. I urge you to be citizens, not spectators, building your communities. These were the first words of this leader of ours. Now we are doing our best to be the citizens. You're killing us because we criticize your leadership. Real Ruben says, we have a human rights lawyer as a president. In a position, he gave us hope that more than anything, now he's on the sky bathing whilst his citizens are killed daily on land. How can they send soldiers to go and be shooting at the crowds that are unarmed? Isn't that supposed to be a work of the police? What a shame on this government, you say. You say the same people that they're shooting were on the streets saying 4 more for Nana. I bet they'll be the same people to come to Facebook and defend the party again. I'm tired of this country under this sky bathing tyrant. And then Wisdom says, when I see these things, I feel so much ashamed as a Ghanaian. How could they just be shooting directly into the crowd of unarmed civilians? Were they in the operation without any commander? And you have had 2 replies on it. Well, a lot of your comments coming in there. This is still the pulse. I want to take a very quick break. When we return, we still have a lot more stories. We'll hear from the National Security Minister. We'll hear from Ambrose Derry, the Interior Minister as well, who has been commenting on what is happening in EJURA. Do stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Many thanks for staying with us. Now let's hear from the Interior Minister Ambrose Derry, who was at a meeting earlier this morning. Well, my colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson caught up with him and tried to get his thoughts on what has happened. At the time he was speaking, the incident had not degenerated. He was referring to the initial death of Macho Kaka.
Taken by the security operatives. And let me remind you, Article 202 says that the IGP is in charge of operational matters. It's not for me, the minister, to decide it. It's for them to decide it. But we are telling the police, you decide it due regard to the fundamental human rights of the people, and if you ever pick them, don't refuse them bail as a policy. Don't keep them beyond 48 hours without going to court. And everybody is presumed innocent until this. So we are interested in whoever they said is fixed, because that name that I've heard, that's the first time I heard it. And they say it's fixed. Listen, don't also let us allow criminals to get away, because while we are supposed to be pursuing them, we're engaging in this argument about this. Whoever it is who attacked that person, it was a criminal act. We condemn it. Government does not support illegal criminal acts at all.
As a sector minister, what are we doing about it?
What am I doing about it? I'm making sure that the police follow up. That's why I told you that the first thing I got, I sent to the police and said one. And the police said, look, I've seen your thing. Where is it? Where is the hospital? I said, go ahead and find it out. We are interested, and I'm condemning. I don't know his state. He's passed on?
Yeah, he's passed on. He's dead.
Look, I want to actually extend my condolences to the families and to ask all those who have information about what exactly about to come forward. And I'm assuring you the government is not out to protect any criminal. If he kills you today, he kills me tomorrow. And so we are not interested in that. We are a democratic country, and we are prepared to listen. That's why you're asking me questions, I'm answering them. I'm answerable to you. I should be able to give an account of what you expect.
That's the Interior Minister Ambrose Derry there, speaking to my colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson and some other journalists on this matter. Well, the police has just issued a statement that has just come in right now. Let's take a look at the content of this particular statement. Right. I'll just read for you what that statement that has just been released says. It says protest at EJURA under investigation. It reads the Ashanti Region Police Command has commenced investigations to establish the circumstances surrounding the violent clashes between the youth and security personnel, leading to the death of 2 and injury of 4, including a military lieutenant. 2 preliminary investigation shows that following the burial of Ibrahim Mohammed at Kaka at Mempasem Cemetery at EJURA today on 29th of June 2021, some irate youth blocked the main EJURA Atebobo Road, impeding traffic, I should say. The police moved in with military reinforcements to quell the situation, but the irate youth charged on the security officers with all manner of implements, including firearms, clubs, machetes and stones. The security officials fired shots to disperse the angry mob, who failed to retreat but rather massed up at all corners. The death and injuries were recorded in the process. The security situation at 3:30 p.m. is calm. However, security has been reinforced to ensure total stability. The regional command has also taken over investigations into the murder of Kaka and appeals to all who have credible information to share with the command at the Central Police Station, Kumasi, or call 0299 207770. That's 0299 207770. The strictest confidentiality is assured. The command is appealing to all, especially the youth of EJURA, to remain calm, and also calls on Nananom and opinion leaders to call for restraint to ensure peaceful environment. Godwin Ahianyo is Assistant Superintendent of Police Public Affairs in the Ashanti region. He speaks for the Public Affairs in the Ashanti region. So that's by way of the latest information coming from the police in the Ashanti region that says it is investigating this matter. Let's hear from the Member of Parliament for the area, whom we spoke to earlier today.
With the way the military handled the situation, they did not handle the situation professionally. And whoever is in charge of the soldiers at EJURA should call them to order. They should call them to order as to how they managed to quell the demonstrations, because I mean we don't fire live bullets into the crowd. There's a situation at hand. You don't go to create another situation to add up. We are grappling with the death of Kaka. Why go right now as we are speaking? About 2 people have died, and then several others have various degrees of injury. This is uncalled for. This is uncalled for. I condemn the act of the military. They should act professionally. They should act professionally. We beg them. And then, much as I'm also talking to the military, I would like to urge the youth that at least everybody should exercise restraint. And then once the culprits, some people have been arrested, and leave the rest to the law enforcement agencies to handle. I plead with everybody in the EJURA, everybody in the EJURA to exercise restraint. All the leaders, the traditional leaders, the Muslim, the churches, everybody should come out and plead with the youth. Everybody should retire to their various homes and ensure that at least there's peace in the EJURA. Otherwise, we are going to add up the already bad situations that we are facing.
And that's Member of Parliament for EJURA, or the EJURA constituency, Mohammed Bawa Brahima. I want to move away from that, but we're still staying on security. The National Security Minister, Albert Kandapar, has revealed that a total of 32 politically motivated violence were recorded in 5 constituencies during the 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections. According to him, one of the emerging security threats to the stability and unity of the country is localized electoral violence, which he says, if not addressed, could reverse democratic gains achieved over the years. Speaking at the opening ceremony of a 3-day national stakeholders dialogue on the theme, countering post-2020 election violence and building consensus for greater political tolerance, Mr. Kandapar charged political actors to work in harmony to create a secured environment for all.
Talk about chieftaincy disputes, talk about inter-ethnic rivalries, talk about land ownership disputes, talk about political party rivalries and political extremism, all have political undertones and have led to politically motivated violence across our country. And be it in an election year or during the term of any government, political intolerance contributes to insecurity. As a country, we must tackle this. We must seek better and improved ways to build national and social cohesion. We must establish mutual trust between the government and the citizens. We must build a national purpose of peaceful coexistence and security across the Ghanaian society. And I believe the government of the day will be challenged in achieving this level of collaboration without the support and without the involvement of the population. Government must cooperate and partner with independent constitutional and statutory bodies, with civil society organizations, above all with political parties, with women and youth groups, with traditional authorities and faith-based organizations. This, we believe, should be the approach for achieving a national agenda that enhances national consciousness and also safeguards national unity and cohesion. And this will then contribute to enhance the peace and the security of the country. In the just ended 2020 elections, available data from the Ghana Police Service indicates that 32 politically motivated and violent incidents were recorded, leading to some fatalities across the country. This should not have happened, and this must never happen again. In our recently launched National Security Strategy document, we have acknowledged that peace is very, very essential in our attempts to build a strong nation. And we seek to work with all political parties and other stakeholders to ensure that going forward, we will be able to operate without political violence, whether it is at the time of election or whether it is at other times. And as I bring my remarks to a close,
National Security Minister Albert Kandapa. For his part, the Interior Minister Ambrose Derry observed that the government has asked the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service to expedite action on its investigations into the electoral violence, insisting government would not relent in its efforts to prosecute persons involved in the act.
Election-related violent incidents which have resulted variously in the loss of lives and the destruction of property in general elections, as well as by-elections in the country. In the 2020 elections, a total of 32 violent incidents were recorded by the Ghana Police Service in 5 constituencies. Ghana, we are not impressed by the fact that these incidents took place in 5 constituencies out of 275. We consider 5 constituencies, 5 contingencies too many, and we consider a loss of 1 life too many, and the injury of persons, any person, 1 too many. These incidents unfortunately resulted in the loss of life, 6 Ghanaians. These regrettable deaths should not happen in our country at this stage of our democracy. The government would not relent in efforts to get those found culpable and prosecuted.
Ambrose Derry is Interior Minister. For his part again, the Information Minister, Kojo Nkrumah, is charging stakeholders to fashion out mechanisms to deal with suspicions during elections. He explains that the situation triggers huge mistrust among political actors, and that leads to electoral violence.
Invokes a lot of passion in its construct and the issues around it. And key to a democratic society is the subject of elections and how electoral disputes are resolved. In resolving electoral disputes or disputes associated with the electoral process, some resort to violence. And among other things, your discussions here will be to ensure how recommendations can be highlighted on how to deal with this phenomenon. As you go through this discussion, I want to highlight a few things that I pray you to consider. First, in looking at the causes, one of the causes that I'd like to draw your attention to is a simple subject of suspicion. And Reverend Chair, with your permission, I'll tell you a little story. Ahead of the 2020 elections, a colleague from our side of the political divide told me a story about how his local constituency executives were so convinced that our opponent on the other side, or his opposing candidate on the other side, had essentially succeeded in gathering ballot papers and ammunition that was going to be used to undermine the electoral process, and were clearly convinced of same and urging him to take action on it. After having an opportunity to interrogate their suspicions and their questions a bit more, holding at bay his own people, they were able to find out that what they were dealing with was mere suspicion and nothing more. Colleagues who play in the political space here will bear testimony to the fact that one of the challenges, one of the things that leads to this exercise is the high level of suspicion that we have among ourselves. My prayer is that as you go through your conversations, you factor this into your deliberations and examine how the levels of unwarranted suspicion are occasioned and how they can be curbed as part of the exercises to find lasting solutions to this.
Kojo Nkrumah is the Information Minister there. Well, today there was that meeting to deal with the issue of electoral violence, or to think that on the day that we have such a conversation, we also had this situation at EJURA. We'll be shortly taking you to Parliament, where the Member of Parliament for EJURA is expected to make a statement on what has happened on the floor of Parliament. But just in case you have not followed the incident so far, there has been what you can call a gunshot spree this morning in a joint police and military operation in EJURA. 2 people have died, and the Member of Parliament is on the floor right now.
Alias Kaka was a member of the Face the Country movement. As an active citizen who is interested in the development of the EJURA municipality, Ibrahim Mohammed has been engaged in a vigorous social media campaign to expose development challenges that confront the people in the municipality and the need for those challenges to be fixed, to the admiration and support of many of the citizens of the area. Mr. Speaker, in the early hours of Saturday, 26 June 2021, some unscrupulous persons attacked Ibrahim Mohammed at his residence, where he sustained severe injuries. He was therefore rushed to the hospital for treatment. Unfortunately, he could not make it. He was reported dead on Monday, 28 June 2021. The attack on Ibrahim was reported to the police, but they took no immediate action. Ibrahim Mohammed was laid to rest on Tuesday morning, that is today. Upon the return of the family, friends and sympathizers from the cemetery, armed police officers and military men reportedly shot into the crowd of innocent citizens, discharging live ammunition, causing severe injuries to about 6 persons and killing 2 of them. Nasiru and Mutala died instantly. This exercise of indiscretion by the police and the military has exacerbated the security situation in the municipality. Prior to the attack on his life, Ibrahim Mohammed reported that he had received several voice messages of threats on his life from faceless miscreants. He therefore lodged complaint to the police for investigation. The gruesome murder of Ibrahim represents yet another dark day for our democracy. That an active citizen like Ibrahim Mohammed alias Kaka, who is genuinely concerned about the underdevelopment in his community, will be gruesomely murdered. Even more regrettable is the fact that the police and military officers who are trained to maintain law and order and to protect life and protect property will discharge live bullets into a crowd of innocent citizens, thereby killing and maiming them, is most regrettable. It is heartwarming that at least 2 suspects by name Ibrahim Isaka alias Anyas the Bible and Al-Hassan Husseini alias Alasan Jamulo, who were both bodyguards of the municipal chief executive Mohammed Salisu Bamba, have been arrested in connection with the murder of Ibrahim Mohammed. These same suspects have been linked to the voice message threats sent to Ibrahim Kaka. I am, by this statement, calling for calm in the EJURA municipality. I call on the Minister for National Security, the Minister for Defense, and the Minister of Interior, and the Regional Security Council to take immediate steps to restore calm in the municipality. I am also calling on the Defense Minister to institute a full-scale investigation into the shooting incident to ensure that trigger-happy soldiers can be brought to book. I demand nothing but justice for Ibrahim Mohammed and his family. The police must thoroughly investigate and prosecute the killers of Ibrahim to serve as a deterrent to persons who are acting with impunity in the municipality. While praying for the soul of Ibrahim, I also commiserate with his family, friends, and loved ones, especially the young widow and the children he left behind. I sympathize with the families of the victims of the shooting incidents and also wish those who sustained injuries receiving treatment a speedy recovery. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity.
Thank you, honorable members. Let me first invite Honorable James Agaga. A leader, I'll come to you, so if you can hold on. I'm taking...
At the conclave, there was an agreement, and my colleague will corroborate that there'll be one on each side, so that in all two members will speak to this issue. That was the agreement. And my colleague is here, he could confirm that. 2 speakers, one on each side.
Honorable leader, well taken, but I've already invited Honorable Agaga. So Agaga, you can take the floor, then I take the leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On this sad occasion, I would like to convey my heartfelt condolence to the families of first Ibrahim Mohammed and the 2 others who were shot dead by the security personnel who were sent there to contain the crowd today. Mr. Speaker, the maker of the statement has raised very critical issues that should catch the attention and firm action of this House. First of all, Mr. Speaker, the remote cause of the demonstration, or if you like, procession, which then resulted in the deployment of the military and police to contain the demonstration, was the death or the killing of Ibrahim Mohammed. Mr. Speaker, the maker of the statement has indicated that they said Ibrahim Mohammed received threats. He received threats and actually took steps to lodge a complaint with the police. The fundamental question, Mr. Speaker, we need to be asking ourselves now is why the police did not provide Ibrahim Mohammed with protection. Because clearly he said he had received voice recordings which threatened that he was going to be attacked and killed. Unfortunately, he was not given any protection. The result is his killing. And Mr. Speaker, when the citizens of EJURA then decided to demonstrate, the police and military, to use excessive force. And Mr. Speaker, that is the next issue I'd like to deal with. The use of excessive force by the police and military in containing crowds or processions in this country is not new.
And so when these things happen, it appears very backward on our forward march as a democracy. So I want to condemn the killings. And killings anywhere should be condemned by all well-meaning Ghanaians. What I don't agree with is for anybody to create the impression that the state is oppressing the exercise of rights. And I put this in context because if we begin to speak and make this narration, we will not see our way clear. Institutions of state are replete with individuals, and these individuals are human like us. So people who serve in the Ghana Police Service, the Army, other security services are human like us. So if under certain circumstances, we have these personalities going beyond boundaries, and some, for want of a better expression, excessive in the enforcement of the law, then we have to depart and identify all these people, but not to lump them together and say that the state is oppressing individuals. That I don't agree. So what we may have to do is to encourage.
Honorable members, order, please.
Speaker, what we should be doing, and I heard my colleague, my good friend, we are all at the NUT student leadership together, the Honorable Agaga, very experienced student leader. We should be encouraging state institutions like the police, the army, the national security, to conduct a thorough investigation. And then the perpetrator should be brought to book. We cannot put a bad name on the Ghana Police Service because some individuals have engaged in some excesses. That would be most unfortunate. And I think that it is important we distinguish and distill these elements in the Ghana Police Service, other police services who are doing a good job, and let them face the rigors of the law. I think when we do that, people will be cautious in the exercise of enforcement of the law, and people will understand that indeed the source of their power is the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, and there's nobody who's beyond the laws of our country. We must also be a bit measured in our commentary. I would never support the killing of any individual, any Ghanaian. Citizens must also cooperate, and the Honorable Agaga, when he was commenting, had sought to make the point that there were earlier warnings that were given, and he sought to ask what the police did in regard to all these earlier warnings that were given to them. I think that these are genuine concerns that all of us need to bring our minds to. Speaker, he concluded by calling for probably an order or directive from the outfit. I think that our standing orders gives us the power. The committee, your committee, the committee the honorable member serves on, the Committee on Defense and Interior, may not even need the directive of the Speaker to begin to ask questions, to begin to ask the sector minister to appear before the committee for some investigation at our level to go on. We are quick at saying, oh, let there be a full-scale investigation. What are we doing as members of parliament as part of our oversight? Let's also do our job. And our regulations mandate us to go into some of these concerns and investigate and report to plenary without necessarily waiting for a referral from the Speaker. It's most unfortunate. Our heart goes out to the family, the people of Duma say, particularly our Member of Parliament, we mourn with you, and probably Parliament in your nation should also take some action through the relevant committee to show a certain concern for the citizens and the lives lost, and also to continuously employ the Ghana Police Service and the other security agencies to do a thorough investigation into this matter, so that never again shall citizens be visited with violence, and armed citizens who are going on a peaceful demonstration, violence be visited on them. It's most unfortunate, and I think that we need to go ahead and do what we have to do. We cannot, Your Honorable, my good friend, we cannot base our conclusion on videos going viral. We can't do that. And it's a house of record. So I urge my good friend, Honorable Agaga, to team up with the chair of the Committee of Defense and Interior, and our good friend, the Honorable Ken Ejapon, to work together. And I can assure you that myself and my good friend, the Honorable Muntaka, and leadership will give you all the necessary support, and with the blessings of the Speaker, for us to come to the bottom of this matter. Speaker, I thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Very good. Honorable Minority.
NASA conversation is still ongoing on the floor of Parliament. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo is on standby. He'll bring us the updates in our subsequent bulletins. And this is how we wrap up on the pause for now. Today, there is more news at myjoyonline.com, and you certainly want to visit that page. Our big story there: 2 dead, 4 injured as military and police clash with protesting EJURA youth. And there are several other stories that you can read as well and share with your colleagues or your contacts so they know what's happening as well. My name is Gifty Andopia. It's always a pleasure serving you.